The high street store Laura Ashley has been fined more than £23,000 after a fireplace surround fell on a 2-year-old girl and fractured her skull. It happened just over a year ago in Norwich.
Window dressing is a favoured way to draw in customers, but when Laura Ashley installed an ornamental fireplace in its Norwich store, it attracted the attention of a toddler. What exactly happened next isn't clear, but the mock marble surround wasn't secured and fell on her head, fracturing her skull. The 2-year-old was taken to the Norfolk and Norwich Hospital and then on to Addenbrooke's in Cambridge. It's understood she's since recovered. Laura Ashley pleaded guilty but was still fined more than £23,000. The reason? Well, this isn't the first time such an accident has happened. A year earlier, another child was hit by a falling fireplace at their store in Guildford. The council who brought the prosecution were awarded £8,000 in costs.
I think this sends a message to all employers and not just shops that they need to learn from previous incidents, and it's a good idea to investigate all incidents, whether they cause injury or not, so that basically you can put in place preventative actions in the future. In a statement, Laura Ashley said it was deeply sorry for the unfortunate accident. We extend our deepest sympathy to the young child who was injured and to her family. The company has since reviewed its health and safety protocol and immediately removed all ornamental fireplaces from its stores. Alex Dunlop, BBC Look East, Norwich.
The mother of a soldier from Essex who was awarded £200,000 has been arrested on suspicion of fraud. Private Matt Woolard from the Royal Anglian Regiment won the compensation after he stepped on a landmine in Afghanistan and lost a leg. He's reported some of the money is missing. 11 firefighters were taken to hospital this morning after a fire in a heating factory. It broke out at Heatrae Sadia near Norwich Airport just before midnight. Some of the crew were checked after inhaling plastic fumes. The site has been closed today.
A blind man from Lowestoft claims a new road layout is putting people with sight problems at risk. Chris Collis says it's only a matter of time before someone's hurt. He's demanding urgent improvements and today won the backing of his Euro MP.
Chris Collis relies on Smudger, his guide dog, to get around town, but this new layout has seen many curbs separating roads and footpaths taken away. Far from being pedestrian friendly for him, it's become potentially fatal.
If I don't go out straight and go to my left, I find that I'm in the middle of I'm not near the zebra crossing at all because they're taking the curb away.
And that's the danger, is that you can easily just
walk straight onto the road without knowing.
He says while there are special surfaces in places to act as a warning, there are still many gaps to stray through into traffic.
The key concern is about making sure there's access for everybody in an environment, that they can actually go into the streets and feel safe and secure. And that's missing at the moment.
The work was part of the so-called Sunrise scheme in Lowestoft. It cost millions, much of it from Europe, which is why the Euro MP is also lobbying for changes.
We have to learn that something that's well-intentioned, designed to actually be safer, has excluded blind and partially sighted people, and we have to make the changes needed so that they can shop on our high street again.
It was a joint scheme between the County Council and District Council, and an official was on site today to listen.
The provisions we have here now are considered to be safe and appropriate, but obviously if there's any further data or information which everybody's collecting that can influence some possible simpler solutions, then obviously they will be looked at.
While there's already pressure for some kind of improvement at this one location, some campaigners want to take things even further. They want the government to call a halt to the provision of this kind of scheme across the country so the evidence can be studied to find out what is the safest design. Kevin Birch, BBC Look East in Lowestoft.
The Dartford tunnel was blocked for a time today by a big crash. 4 lorries were involved in the pile-up in the western tunnel linking Essex and Kent. It caused lengthy tailbacks, but no one was hurt, and the tunnel reopened after the lorries had been cleared. The Radio Norfolk presenter Roy Waller is leaving his long-running daily programme. He will continue to present his Saturday morning country and western programme, Radio Norfolk. A former sheriff of Norwich, he's been with the station since it opened. He commentated on Norwich City games for 24 years.
Now, we hear a lot these days about the decline of the countryside and the loss of village shops and pubs. Today in Essex, the talk was about stopping the downturn and helping both communities and businesses.
This one here is a native oyster. Their season only runs when there's an R in the month. So it's from September through to April.
Mark Barber's Oysters and Ale on show at the Maldon Food Festival. All the traders work on the coast or in the countryside, and they've all got opinions on making rural Essex more productive.
I'd like to see, obviously, more publicity and more promotion for rural life, which I think is the key to making everything work.
One of our biggest costs is energy, so anything that Rural Commission could do to reduce energy costs would really help.
There are things we can do to make it better.
In the next marquee, a meeting of the newly formed Rural Commission discussing how to make life better for people like the traders.
We have a lot of rural areas that are always vulnerable, economically speaking. And what we wanted to do was to arrive at a notion of where rural Essex was going.
The problems are to do with ageing populations, are to do with transport, access to care, the use of the kind of natural environment, the pressures between development and the environment, the need for rural jobs.
The Commission has its work cut out. It's making 60 recommendations, and Essex is 2/3 rural. And Janet Gadgill for BBC Look East in Maldon.
Play each other on Monday.
Tomorrow, our championship sides, Peterborough and Ipswich, go in search of their first wins. Ipswich are second from the bottom, and manager Roy Keane admits he has made mistakes.
Pleasant day at Portman Road, a chance for the players to stretch their legs and get some sun on their backs before embarking on a 5-hour trip north to Middlesbrough. This man, the manager, has struggled so far to find a winning formula. So, how does he sum up the opening month?
OK, could be better. A bit like my old school reports, I suppose, you know. If I was an Ipswich supporter, then I'd be disappointed. No, it's well and good me talking about the staff and the players and supporters, but trust me, I'm constantly looking at myself and I need to do better.
Honest assessment, but August wasn't much fun. No wins in their opening 5 league games, plus this early exit from the Carling Cup at the hands of Peterborough. Things not going according to plan.
It's a big transitional period, and obviously Roy Keane has brought in a lot of his own players, and it's going to take time to gel.
Maybe we've overhyped it, thinking he's such a great player that it was automatically going to happen.
Keane spent around £6 million on players since taking over. Grant Ledbetter, Carlos Edwards and Liam Rossigna, the most recent recruits, all set for debuts tomorrow as Town seek to right a few wrongs.
They haven't been scoring goals, they've been struggling to create from midfield and put the ball in the back of the net. And at the back, they've given away sloppy goals, so obviously a recipe for poor results and poor performances.
All the great managers, I've made decisions where they question themselves, and I'm no different. If I want to be great, I have to take this gamble where I let certain players go at the club, bring certain players in. If the manager doesn't believe the team can get promoted, then what chance have he got? And I'm still convinced as ever that we'd be thereabouts at the end of the season.
As a player, Keane showed he had the talent, now to put his managerial skills to the test to get Ipswich off and running. Tom Williams, BBC Look East, Ipswich.